What's up, everybody? I am Aflex.
DJ Q?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. What was that?
Like that was the rest of the water going down my.
You want to run it again?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do that again.
I thought that was your stomach.
It went like.
What it was.
All right, what's up, everybody? I am Aflex, and this is.
It's Backspace Podcast. I'm DJ Q.
You say the Backspace Podcast?
Let's say it again. Do it again. One more time. As we take a couple weeks off, we gotta do a couple takes on the intro.
Yeah. Okay, what's up, everybody? I'm Aflex.
And this is the Backspin Podcast, and I'm DJ Q.
Yeah, what's up? Okay, just a couple of DJs. We get together like probably once a week or so. We just talk about DJ stuff, what's going on in DJ news, what's going on in our DJ life, and all of that. We're not going to get into politics. We're not going to tell you how to,
who to vote for.
We're not going to get into all that. I know that your news feed's probably filled up with all that kind of stuff. This is just some good old wholesome DJ content. So
right for all the DJs out there.
Yeah, welcome to the Backspin Podcast. Awesome.
Yep.
So this week, you and I kind of did a gig together.
Yeah. That was dope. Over at 13 Roses Tattoo. Shout out to Matt Womack and the crew. Did the party, customer appreciation party. You DJ'd mostly. I just took pictures.
Yeah, that was
grab some content.
It was. I don't know. I just love doing that stuff. Sometimes gigs are great because, there's 1,000 people in the audience and hands in the air and everybody's going crazy. And it's just, you get a really big high from being a part of those kind of like huge events. But the 13 Roses thing, like we know those guys,
right.
We know the owners, we know the tattoo artists, we know the people who work behind the counter.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it's a gig, but you're going to hang out with your friends.
Right.
Which to me is awesome because, I don't know, I just letting you into Alex's world a little bit, I get kind of lonely sometimes at gigs where I don't really know anybody there. Mm-hmm. If I'm looking out, even if the crowd's super into it, I wish that my friends were there with me, hanging out, kicking it, having a good time, because I've DJ'd, well, up until the last couple of years, I was DJing every Friday and Saturday night of my adult life. So getting to do gigs where I see friends is just a breath of fresh air. I was smiles all night. I think I was dancing or smiling in every picture or video I saw.
Got some good shots of you, letting loose.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, it's like you said. I mean, it's always dope doing events like this where everybody knows each other and comes together for the same purpose. Just to, have a good time, man. There's not a lot of pressure. It's laid back. It's kind of do what you want to do, and you just have fun with it.
Yeah, but we also, besides hanging out with, people that we know, there was also something that you and I have talked about a little bit, like doing events at places where we can get some footage, record a mix, do some of the, kind of extracurricular DJ stuff, like creating, content?
Yeah, content. Yeah, content creation and having some stuff to put on the internet. I mean, I think that's the key nowadays. Back in the day where what we would do if we wanted to, let somebody know like what we did to show them, they'd have to come to the gig. Now, we have the ability to, pop up a camera, a phone, an actual camera, whatever, and get some content, put it on YouTube. And then that way it lives there forever until, Google decides they don't want to, have YouTube anymore. But you can let everybody know, like, hey, check this out. Check me out, and you got something to put up. So it's definitely, we encourage people to do that. I think that you and I have been on top of that, whether it's just doing it from the house or doing it at a gig, which is cool too. Seeing how you interact with the rest of the people in the room.
It was definitely a collaboration event. It wasn't so much about the money or whatever. It was, we're all kind of bringing something different to the table. Matt provided the venue and the backdrop. You were more focused on kind of the marketing side, capturing the content, networking, all of that. I was keeping the music going. Even though, you jumped on for a little bit, Smitty jumped on for a little bit. I think Trogue played like one song.
Oh, is that it? I saw him get back there for a minute, and he
Yeah.
wasn't.
So he got to scrolling through my music, and I think he didn't know a lot of it because he's more so, in the underground world. So
Yeah.
he got on and was like, man, where's the Mobb Deep?
Right,
where's
right, yeah. Yeah.
And so that was kind of funny. But I have a newer laptop that I haven't transferred everything over to. And so, my throwback hip hop or my underground hip hop crates are a little lacking. Like it's there, the stuff that I need, but it's
right.
not
Yeah.
not super deep crates. My R&B crates are looking pretty good, but now that that's good because that's the main event that I do. Now I'm starting to realize like, oh man, I've been pouring everything into that cup. I need to make sure that I'm filling out the rest. Do you do that? Do you ever like think about, okay, I need to make sure, even though I'm not doing certain types of gigs, I need to make sure that I'm up on my R&B stuff or I'm up on my EDM stuff?
Yes and no. I would say, to be honest, like, I haven't downloaded or looked at a lot of like newer EDM stuff as a whole recently. I mean, there's a few things that I've gotten here and there, but it's not like hasn't been like a priority of mine to look at. Because I'm not playing a lot of it. So I guess the answer is no. Like if I'm not playing a lot of it, I'm not really looking for it.
Yeah.
And if I don't think that it's mainstream, really, like, because the events that I'll DJ, like I need like very familiar stuff, whatever's hot right now. And in the EDM world, it's interesting because people will say, well, there's this and that, it's hot, and this is hot. We got buddies that go to like the festivals and stuff like that, and they'll hit me up, oh man, what about this song? What about that song? I'm like, you saw that or heard that at a festival, and the whole experience is attached to that song, and that's why you believe it's hot, and that's why you like it. Well, when I'm DJing at, a lounge or like Art Bar, which is very loungy, or something like that, or even like Mr. Thirsty's, which is like a party bar, we don't have big sound and lights and theatrics. So that stuff doesn't go over the same. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't give the same effect. So like, if I play those records, like, people, they don't care.
They want the stuff that they know.
Right, they want the stuff that they know.
Yeah, when you're at a festival and somebody's dropping like it's like the brand new Fisher track or whatever. Fisher's like, hey, I got a brand new song I'm going to play for you. And everybody goes crazy, and it's the first time that they've heard the song. Yeah, that works. But if you try to do that same thing, like, hey, brand new song from Fisher, and you're at Mr. Thirsty's, everybody's going to go, we don't know this. But if you play that classic, if you play
like Calvin Harris summer song or something like
Kirker's
that.
remix of Day and Night, something like that, that they're going to...
But at the same time, like, there was a time and place where that EDM sound was really popular, and a lot of those records were getting played a lot. Where like now, I don't think that sound is as popular as what it was in like the mid 2000s. And so, yes, there's a lot of festivals that are still going on. Yes, there's a lot of, the James Hypes or the Fishers or whoever. But that sound isn't, it's almost like it's underground again. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a mainstream sound unless you're in that world. Like the Calvin Harrises and Swedish House Mafias, that stuff crossed over into like a pop realm where we're getting played all the time.
Yeah.
Now that stuff isn't pop anymore. So when I say pop, it just means like it's a familiar, getting played a lot on like, maybe like a pop station like for us in St. Louis, 107.7 or 98.1. Is that what it is? 98.1, yeah. Getting played on those stations. It's funny, what I think kind of replaced EDM was country. I think yeah,
you might be right. I think Diplo's been doing some country records. Post Malone's been doing some country records. Beyonce's been doing country records. So yeah, it is kind of the Shabuzi record got really popular. So yeah, I think right now might be one of the first times I've ever thought to myself, you know what, I probably should build out a little bit of a country crate.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, I
just
got more country hits than I'd say EDM hits right now. Yeah,
like
like of current stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
not like throwback, but yeah, current.
yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think
Mm-hmm.
about that. But I think across all genres right now, remixes or re-edits, redrums, whatever you want to call it, I think that's kind of what the crowd's most responding to now. Like they want those familiar records. You could flip it or not, but you could. But taking the chance on new records, I'm not taking as many chances on brand new records. I'm not really paying as close of attention to the charts because I feel like the charts will burn you. You know, you could play the number one record, but the number one record is, say, you know, it could be a country record, but if you're not playing a country, or it doesn't even have to be, you can play a hip hop spot, but play, you know, Drake could have the number one record, say, for example, but you play that at the club and it just falls flat.
Yeah, I think that's kind of always been a thing, right? Like, cause you got like records that work on radio that don't work in the clubs. You got records that work in the clubs that don't work on radio, and vice versa. But yeah, I think that it depends on the vibe of the song. You know, like Futures had songs that were big records, right? And they're not club records that had to be flipped or had to be remixed or re-edited to make it club worthy in certain situations, right? Like some situations, like those re-edits and re-drums or remixes aren't going to work, depending on the crowd. But some of those songs that he's, you know, like one that comes to mind is like the song "Honest," real slow, almost like ballady hip hop type record.
Is that a Future record? Or are you talking about the Justin Bieber record, Honest?
Wasn't he on Justin Bieber? No, didn't Future have a record called "Honest"?
Oh boy,
I believe so. Yeah.
I thought it
We got the
was
internet.
Justin Bieber
I think
and
he got one too. But or am I like getting old and losing my mind? Let me see.
well, there's no doubt. So
Yeah, Future's got a record called "Honest." Yeah, he does. I'm not
Okay.
tripping. Yeah.
one of the other interesting things about Future, and I know we're kind of doing some free association stuff right now. We're jumping around, and I have some topics I want to get to, but Future is interesting, and even Travis Scott, kind of same thing. A lot of these hip hop acts that make I don't know, you want to call it like slower tempo,
What's
minor key.
somebody called it something one time. They called it what's the lean rap?
Make well the okay, so but those records, if you play them in the club, they sound like the energy goes way down in the club.
Yeah.
But I see them do shows, you know, where like say Goosebumps, right, by Travis Scott. And I'd never been to a Travis Scott show, but I watched that documentary, Look Mama I Can Fly,
Yeah.
and he would do Goosebumps, and
People lose
the
their shit.
place would turn into mosh pits. I'm like, that doesn't work when
Yeah, it's
I-
always
that
a different
doesn't-
vibe, yeah, than a show versus. It's kind of like the same thing as the festivals situation, right? Like,
yeah.
they don't want to see us do the festival set, but they'll go to Vegas to, you know, to EDC.
Yeah.
You know, if we do that, what are you doing?
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
just I think it's the energy that he puts into it. And same thing with Future. You know, if he's doing Mask Off or whatever, you know, that song by itself is not really the hypest song.
Yeah.
But when he does it in a show, the people go bananas for it.
Yeah, I think just going to a show though. I think people, and I say this, I'm not a concert person, but I think that people that like concerts, like shows, it's a different experience when they go to a show, and it's like going to Vegas. Like people just act different. You know, they'll hear that like at a regular bar, oh, I don't care. But if they're at the show for some reason, it's different. Maybe it is the experience. It's the experience of the theatrics on stage. Maybe that person's just there, so they feel different.
It's hyped up differently.
Yeah, you know.
I think your intention going to a show is like, I'm going to get rowdy to this artist, versus if you're at a club, you're trying to be cool because you're trying to impress the other sex
Yeah.
or whatever. But actually, that kind of segues into one of the things that I wanted to talk about a little bit, which is putting together a set, a DJ set. You know, some people, a lot of DJs go in and they have absolutely no idea what they're gonna do. They're reading the room. But after you have, let's say you're, the example would be me DJing Tin Roof. Like I DJ Tin Roof every Sunday, and so does Deception. But a lot of the same people, a lot of the regulars are coming and seeing us week after week, and I'm like, man, I want to give them something different. And what I'm seeing Deception do, or at least my perception of what I'm seeing him do, is I feel like he's kind of telling a story with his DJ set. He might explain it completely different. I'd love to have him on one of these days, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But that's my perception. That's what I'm seeing, is he's telling stories. Like, hey, I'm telling you that it's an R&B brunch. So, like, I'm gonna take you over here and tell you a little bit about this chapter. I'm gonna bring you over here, tell you a little bit about this. I'm gonna do my, a handful of line dances. I'm gonna bring it over here, and maybe even like transition to some, hip hop and R&B records over here. And it reminded me a little bit of, and probably one of the reasons why I'm saying that he's telling a story, is I remember years ago going to see Biz Markie and Jagged Edge. Forget where it was, somewhere downtown.
Probably the pageant.
No, it was a club.
No, it was a club. Okay.
Yeah, it was a club downtown. I think it was. Anyways, yeah, if I think of it, I'll bring it up. So what was interesting about it is I had never seen Biz Markie. I always knew Biz Markie as a
rapper,
as a performer, but he did a DJ set. And what was so interesting to me is he broke his DJ set up into a bunch of smaller sets. He did, he did a reggae set. He did a East Coast hip hop set. He did a West Coast hip hop set. He did a R&B set. He did like a Rest in Peace set where he did like Big L Rest in Peace and played, a Big L record. But then he was like, let me play a Biggie record. Let me play a Tupac record. And he just broke it up into those chunks. But he very deliberately had different chapters. And he could interchange those things. Instead of playing, Tupac, How Do You Want It? He could play Ambitions as a Writer, But it seemed like those segments he had pretty locked in. And then he would put in different things, different pieces, depending on where he was and what records would work if he was West Coast or Midwest. And that's speculation, of course. I don't know exactly what he was thinking. He could have played the same set everywhere.
Right.
But even back then, I've said, man, that's a really good idea. And now I'm seeing Deception do something similar to that, whether it's intentional or not. I want to start incorporating something like that into my sets. Have you ever thought about that? What do you think the pros and cons are of trying to tell a story with your DJ set?
I think it boils down to who's in the room, first of all. Like, if you're DJing for a crowd that's old enough to understand these records, then yeah, it works. It works well, because I've done exactly what you're talking about doing before, actually quite often. But if you have a crowd, like I use Mr. Thirsties for example, that structure wouldn't work there. But your crowd at Tin Roof, or maybe Deception's crowd at Tin Roof, since I've played that time slot before and seen who's there, that'll work there. Because you have people in the crowd that are old enough to know those records. And I think that's what it boils down to. Now, I use Mr. Thirsty's example again. You could use a similar format, but I don't know if you say, all right, I'm going to do West Coast, I'm going to do East Coast, I'm going to do this. It might be something different. Like, because I did one night, I did a bunch of like what I call pop rock stuff. The 311s and Blink 182s and stuff like that. That worked really well at Mr. Thirsty's. But again, like it was like a set of those songs. Even like threw like Red Hot Chili Peppers in there and stuff like that. It was a set of those songs. So like I think it depends on the format will work, but what you plug into the format has to depend on who's in the room.
Yeah, what are they coming there for?
Mm-hmm.
And also I think the setup of the room, like we're on stage,
Mm-hmm.
there's lights on us. It's just where I feel like the expectation at Tin Roof is kind of more put on a performance
Yeah,
because
anytime you're on
you're
stage, yeah, for sure.
but if you're at somewhere maybe like Mr. Thirsty's where you're like on a card table, you know.
Well, we got a booth at Mr. Thirsty's.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
there's a booth
yeah,
now.
we're in the
I'm
booth.
thinking of years ago. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
make sure you bring a card table. I'm like,
yeah.
what?
No, we're in a booth in the back. I mean, and it just depends. Again, I think it depends on who's in the room. Like if I look out, at Mr. Thirsty's, for people that aren't aware, it's in downtown St. Charles, which is really close to Lindenwood University. So you get an influx of a bunch of college kids coming in there, right? So if you think about college kids, their age is 19 to 22 or 18 to 22.
Yeah, they're bar hopping.
Right. They're bar hopping, number one. Number two, if they're 18, 19 to 22, they weren't alive, to even understand a lot of the nuances of like this type of set that like Sebs is doing. But maybe they know, again, like you use that format. Maybe I do like a EDM set where I'm playing like Calvin Harris, Swedish House Mafia, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They may know that, you know what I'm saying? So, to answer your question, I think that it could work. It just depends on what I guess you plug into it.
Yeah,
depending on who's
you
there.
could do like a St. Louis set. We play a couple of St. Louis records.
Yeah.
And they would know those records. Like, so you would have to, like I said, you would move the pieces around or make the themes for the sets a little bit different. But I think that's something I'm going to work on. Like, as I'm spending some time downloading music, putting things together, it's like I can make these little mini sets.
Well, I've talked about this before too. Like the way that I DJ, and it's interesting to me. It always is people don't DJ this way. They don't use browse in the Serato layout, and doing stuff like that using browse is super easy. That because I've never been a big crate maker because I use the browse.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working within BPM. So like, say if I want to do like a quote unquote throwback EDM set, I guess we can say that now, of like Calvin Harris records, Crookers, remix of Day and Night, Swedish House Mafia stuff. All I gotta do is hit 128, and there they all are. They're in there. You know what I mean? So,
but what about the 127s, 126s, 125s,
that's right next to
124s?
it. It's right next to it. You know what I mean? I just hit 126, 127, 128.
Okay, so you bop around like that. You hit the different BPM. See, I need to see the range. Like if I'm at 128, I want to see everything from like 125 to 130 on to scroll in between.
But there's so much stuff. Like let's say like 128. There's so many songs at 128. So like how many records do you need to see at one time? Like if you were to see everything from 125 to 128, you're probably looking at like, I don't know, 5,000 songs.
Well, that's if you have it on all, but if I build a crate that's like my throwback EDM. And you know what? Let me just take a pause here. Let's just take a beat and say, anybody that's listening to this right now, throw it in the comments. How do you browse do you create crates specifically for each event?
Yeah.
How do you have any tips for organizing your music? Or do you do what Q does over here, which is like how psychopaths do it?
So
which is
I will
using
say
the
I do
browse
make
function.
I do. So I'm telling you, man, you start using browse function, you'd be like, why was I never doing this? So I do make crates for specific things. Like if I'm doing something super specific, I will make a crate for that because then I'm only playing those songs out of that crate for that event. But like if I'm DJing a club, like if I'm DJing for like 4 hours, 5-hour regular club night, bar night, no, I'm just rolling out of the browse. So you click browse. And then you get all your stuff like, all right, what genre do I want to pick? And then the other thing I do is keep things simple. Like I don't have, and I guess it's, for me, from DJing so long, I know I don't need to put in the genre down south rap for T.I. I know that's down south. I know T.I. is from Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Or Migos is from Atlanta. Outkast is from Atlanta. So I already know. But I keep it real simple. If I want to play rap, I hit rap. If I know I want to play like down tempo stuff like 70 BPM, I start at 70, roll through the 70s. Then I go to 71, roll through the 71s, go to 72, roll through the 72s. I may see, and if I get an idea, like let's just, for example, maybe I'm playing something like 74 and I know I want to play sicko mode, right? Sicko mode is 77. I'm just going to jump to 77, type in sick, boom, sicko mode's right there. I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm starting to implement more like tricks, like kind of, I don't know if tricks is the right word, but just ideas, conceptual ideas of like, hey, I know that I'm gonna, the last word here, I can loop it, and then the first word to the next song are gonna,
some wordplay stuff.
Wordplay or whatever it might be, tone play or whatever. Not saying my whole set's like that, but
Yeah.
and so that's also how I'm trying to think and organize. But
I think if you're doing stuff like that, then making a crate
yeah,
definitely makes sense. If you're so again, like I don't do everything just like that. Like if I wanted to do something like that, I would make a crate, 100%. Because then you're doing something intentional. Like you're intentionally playing this song and then playing this song after it. Where if I'm DJing a bar night or club night, I'm not necessarily doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that's more for special events and stuff.
Yeah. If I'm putting on like, say like if I'm doing like say I'm doing a showcase, like we do the 12 DJs or whatever on night before Thanksgiving. For that event, I'll put together a crate. I'll put together a whole situation and just play out of that. Yeah.
I was on Instagram the other day, and I get a bunch of DJ stuff suggested in my what's that page where it like shows you all the stuff that you might like on Instagram. You know what I'm saying.
That? Yeah, I know.
Anyways,
what you mean.
that one page, like if you press the hourglass, it's like here's a bunch of DJ stuff and sneakers and skateboard stuff, whatever
stuff that you're like been searching.
Yeah, it knows what you like, right?
Yeah, all the big booty bitches and.
I intentionally avoid that just so that
keep it out of your algorithm.
Yeah, I keep that stuff out of my algorithm. I just fly past it. That and the hold your ears, everybody. The pimple popper stuff.
Oh God!
Every once in a while, that'll pop up on my and I just fling
none of that
past that because I don't want that in my feed because I've seen people bring up that screen and it's all gross stuff like that.
Yeah, I can't. But you're right, like that's how you keep the algorithm what you want to see.
Yeah, like don't even make eye contact with the weird stuff.
Yeah.
So anyways, one of the things, because I watch a lot of DJ stuff or look at a lot of DJ stuff, subscribe to a lot of DJs, there was it was like we asked ChatGPT, we gave it the list of the top 40 or 50 songs right now, and we asked it to organize it into 4 different hour-long sets for a DJ set to like, how would you organize these songs into the best DJ set? And I looked at it and I didn't know a lot of the songs, to be honest with you, but it seemed kind of terrible. Like I would not have played those songs in that order. Some of the best songs
I wonder what
were at the beginning. But my point is, I think more and more we're going to see AI kind of play a role. We already have crate hackers and things like that. I think that there's going to be more tools that we use, specifically AI. As we use AI more for DJ related stuff, like picking out songs and whatever, it's going to learn and get better at that. And so where, at some point, Serato, we're going to have our crates, we're going to play a song, but there will be a little window that pops up and it'll go, hey, here's 3 good songs to mix out of that.
Yeah, I think yes and no. The problem with AI in the DJing is the fact that AI doesn't know who's in the room, right? Like that's the issue right there. So it doesn't know, like you said, it organized these records in a fashion you're like, well, I wouldn't play that first. And I would want to know like why the AI organized those records in that way. Like what are they, what prompt are they using to organize it like that? Because that's all how AI works, right? It's using a prompt. And the problem with that is like, you show up to a night to DJ, it's 10 o'clock. and let's just use like Kendrick Lamar, "Not Like Us," right? One of the biggest songs out right now, and AI is telling you to play that at 10 o'clock.
Right, which was kind of what happened
Yeah.
in the
In the thing, right?
in the thing.
The problem with that is like AI doesn't know that at 10 o'clock no one's in the room. You know what I'm saying? So that's the issue you're gonna run into with AI. Now I think the AI could possibly say, but then again, it's like,
Well,
how
you
is
have to
it
feed it more information.
right?
You have to
Yeah.
say
What information is it getting? Right. To make to determine what you should play. Is it by BPM? Is it by energy level? And then energy level could get thrown off so crazy because of how, like we just talked about, like there's these records that are so low energy on like the quote unquote energy spectrum, I guess. But they're big records. Like
yeah,
remember
they've
when
got a lot of spins on
Yeah.
Spotify or whatever. So
like Mask Off.
so yeah, so the algorithm, the AI thinks because it's got more plays on
Yeah.
Spotify that it needs to go later when there's a bigger crowd there, not thinking about the actual, because it
Yeah.
doesn't feel anything. It doesn't feel the actual energy of the song.
Right. Or it could go the other way around where it doesn't prompt you to play it because the song doesn't have quote unquote energy in it based on the elements of the record. Right? Like it's not loud, it's not punchy, it's not it's not up tempo, it's down tempo. So like it can make a determination like you use like Future Mask Off, right? It was a huge record at its time, or like even like Goosebumps, right? Huge record, but it totally writes it off, and you're like, no, that's a song I can play that'll go off. So like AI still got a lot to learn, but I think the biggest hurdle that AI will always have when it comes to DJing, unless you got a camera in the room, I guess, and AI can read what's on the camera. It doesn't know who's in front of you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and it doesn't know the personalities of the people in front of you. It could see, again, you could be DJing Tin Roof, predominantly black crowd, and I don't know, AI might not be able to read that those folks are black and they're 35, between 35 and 45, and it's telling you to play Fisher. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but I think the day is going to come where it's at least suggesting songs. Like, hey,
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you just played Mrs. Officer by Lil Wayne, right? So probably next, based on that, if that did well, you might want to play, this Drake song or this Beyonce song.
I think
or
that's
this
already
whatever.
happening with Spotify, right? Like Spotify, and like if you go in and play,
Yeah, the suggested
Yeah.
songs. I think that
Yeah.
there is going to be that, but it's also going to be smart where it's going to go, hey, we know that you're 84 beats per minute. This song's at 83, this song's at 84, this song's at 85. So it's going to give you stuff in that like at that energy level, in that genre, at that tempo. I think that's coming.
The problem though is like every room, the same room, week to week, can be a different room.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. See, AI works off of consistent information, right? So like,
But if it's in everybody's Serato and it's gathering data and reporting back to the database, it's like 90% of DJs play these 3 songs after that. It could be
he could give you a suggestion, but is that suggestion going to be right? Is the question.
well,
know
and
what
you
I'm
have
saying?
the choice to
Yeah.
not take that suggestion,
Yeah.
but it takes some of the guess. I don't know. I don't want to
Yeah,
say some of the
I
guesswork,
think
but
it can do what you're saying. It could absolutely do right now. I think that again, the problem is like, is that suggestion actually going to work at that time? And that could come down I think that could be 50-50, right? That record could work, or that record could absolutely not work.
But think about this too. When I was talking about putting a story together, the chapters, right? So you could say, I'm DJing a set. Give me the biggest hits from hip hop artists that passed away in between the years 1995 and 2005.
Yeah.
And it's
You do that right now.
Boom, and well, you could Google it.
You could chat GBT that all day.
Right, you could chat GPT, but imagine it's like built into your Serato, where
Yeah, it would just be like a plug-in, like a chat GBT plug-in in Serato
Yeah.
Yeah. And you hit but the thing is, you have to put that prompt in, which that could be done right now. That's just up to Serato to add it to Serato. Like, Serato's a company to add ChatGPT, just like Google added their own AI, or Spotify's got their own AI, or whatever. Like, and it's funny, like, AI isn't really a new, it's not a new thing. But yeah, I could absolutely do that right now.
Well,
I
yeah,
think so.
and it's
Yeah.
getting smarter like
Yeah.
by the day. I don't know. I'm interested in how AI is going to affect DJing in the years to come. Like it's gonna happen. It's coming. And just kind of being like kind of I don't know, just having some conversation about
Yeah.
predicting where it's going to go. But even if it's not built into Serato, I wonder if that's not a tool we can't use now. Just having another window open, or in the preparation stage, as I'm sitting here
Yeah.
thinking about, okay, I need to put some things together for this Sunday. I want to try some things that are new, some things that are different. What are some prompts that I can put into ChatGPT that will get me results that'll help me
I
to
think
put
you
that
just
stuff
said one.
together?
You just said one. I mean,
Well,
you
yeah,
you can put that in ChatGPT right now, and I'm pretty sure you have all those records in your Serato. Like, you could definitely use ChatGPT to create crates right now.
So
Right? Like, if
okay,
you were like, say, the top 10 Dirty South, whatever record from 2001 to 2006, it'll give it to you.
I'm gonna just pause for another minute. Anybody that's listening right now, if you want to go to the comments, let us know. Have you used any AI, ChatGPT, or anything like that as a tool for DJing? And if so, like what? Also, I don't think we've ever said this before. It was a good time to say it. If you like this, like and subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, we'll
I
be
think
sure to leave comments so that we know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and we will kind of start gearing and tailoring these things more to the people. So let us know what you want, and we will try to steer things in that direction.
Speaking of all this, I just sent DJ Chris Brown something on Instagram that I saw the other day about DJ Marvel. And he's using, and he says it really fast, but there's an app he's using. So he's talking about, setting up a crate for a wedding DJ, DJing a wedding. And basically, like, what he does is, and a lot of wedding DJs do this, is they have their client send them a Spotify playlist of the records that they want played.
Mm-hmm.
And he's using something in conjunction with BeatSource where he's able to download the Spotify playlist, then put it into this other app, which talks to BeatSource, and then it automatically creates a crate.
I've heard of that. Yeah,
In,
I think that's Crate Hackers, right?
he called it something else.
Okay.
But I think maybe Crate Hackers does something similar. Right. So, like, he's using, and that's not necessarily AI, but, that's technology. He's using this thing.
Yeah,
where,
APIs.
yeah, it creates that whole thing. But just to get back to the AI thing, I think the AI situation, like what you're saying, is already there, already useful. 100%, a tool you could use right now. And you just have to use it separately from Serato, I think, and just do ChatGPT on your phone, and then wherever it comes up with, go to your Serato and put it in there. But like I said, I think the biggest issue that the AI will run into as of now is knowing what humans are in the room and the personalities and the thoughts of those humans in the room.
Yeah, and I wonder too, you could do like a thumbs up, thumbs down thing where it's like, okay, I took your suggestion and it didn't work, so I'm going to give you a thumbs down.
Yeah.
And then that will feed back into the algorithm, and it'll know next time, hey, maybe we don't suggest Celine Dion right after Lil Wayne.
Right.
So,
Because that's like the psychology part of DJing, right? Like being able to look at the crowd and make these judgments on who's standing in front of you and what they want to hear, based on all kinds of things, like what they're wearing, what they look like, the color of their skin, all kinds of things. Is this a sorority party? Is this a bachelorette party? Is it, is it hood night? Is it whatever? You know what I mean? We look out and we see those people, and we see the bachelorette parties. It's like, all right, let's play Girls Want to Have Fun. You know what I mean? Play ABBA or whatever, because they're gonna lose their shit. Or is it, you're looking out and it's 35 plus year old black women that they want to hear Tyrese or something. You know what I'm saying?
Sweet lady.
112 Jodeci or something like
I
that.
love
You
it.
know what I'm saying? So, but that's the psychology of DJing. In that part of AI, I think is just going to be tough for it to really do well with. Because AI work, yeah, is it good? But is it going to do really well? Otherwise, the other part about it is like all the prompting you'll have to do to tell it what to give you back. You could just search in your Serato and get the record.
Yeah, you're right, but I feel like I want to bring awareness to, shine a light on all the tools. Like there's going to be things coming. Yeah, you're right. But as we are starting to incorporate things like BeatSource, and we have just these libraries of millions of songs, searching for songs is going to become more challenging. So there's going to be tools that are going to help us to search for those songs to find the right thing, so that you're not spending so many hours each week building crates, and it's like, hey, no, I can go into this blind because I'm going to be able, like I've got this AI component that is going to help me through this whenever I can't find a record. It knows, oh, okay, hey, you only have so many seconds left before this is over, so we're going to go ahead and throw something onto the other turntable that you could mix in right now, or if you can't find something else. Like there's going to be a lot of neat things like that, I think, coming down
we already got the prepare window in Serato, but I think having the game plan, because you're right, like right now, even without BeatSource, I mean, I would argue to say that a lot of people have 100,000 songs on their hard drives.
That's why I've got a new laptop and I don't have all that old stuff. I was like, I just got to restart because I've got stuff from not 25 years ago, but
you got stuff from
years ago.
Yeah,
a decade ago. It's like, man, it's just so cluttered. And I got a new laptop. It's either just bring over the stuff that I want to bring over, or bring everything over and go through all 50,000 songs to prune it and get it down to a manageable level.
Well, I got a couple of tips for that. First of all, like have a process on how you collect your music, and then put it into Serato. So for me, I started this way back when, and again, I keep things simple. I don't have a bunch of different genres. Like I don't have a bunch of different sub-genres. Like if you look at my little genre window, there's maybe like 10 of them in there, right? Like, so I don't break everything up into like 1990s East Coast rap. Like I know that's Nas is that, right? So that's one thing. Another thing is like, don't try to get, and this is for the new DJs too, anybody getting into DJing now or music collection now, don't get too much at one time, because you won't have a process. It'll take you way too long. Like even now, like when I sit down, like once a week or so, I'll jump on the record pools and download music. I will purposely not download too much stuff.
Yeah.
So then I can go into Serato, import it into Serato and organize it. And I've done this in the past, and the reason why I've stopped, because I've sat down and all of a sudden I've downloaded 1,000 records. It's like, fuck.
You have 16 copies of the same song.
Well, not even that. It's just the fact that going through all of it and organizing it, like that's why I just do little chunks at a time. So then, if I got like 100 songs, 100 records that I've downloaded, I know that won't take me very long to organize it with the process that I use. So, but if for whatever reason I download like 1,000, or like people out there, oh man, this so-and-so gave me their hard drive that's at 50,000 songs on it. Like,
yeah,
what are you gonna do with that?
Yeah, that just gives me
anxiety. Like,
it's like, oh my gosh,
right?
What am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do? All because you have to kind of create your own process so you can find things.
I got a little pro tip to add to that too. When cleaning up your library is the play count, which you might have to turn on in Serato. It's one of the fields that'll tell you. You just go to your all folder and sort it by play count and reverse it. So like all the stuff that you've never played before will be at the top, and you can just kind of go through and go, okay, well, here's all the stuff that I've never played, or here's the stuff I've only played one time or two times. You don't even have to bother looking at all the stuff that you've played
Yeah.
63 times. You know you're going to need that record at some point in
Yeah,
the
you could
future.
delete some of that stuff.
Yeah, but-
yeah, I've gone through and purged some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my method that I'll do once every couple of months is I just play count,
Yeah,
reverse
that's
it,
a good. That's a good tip.
all
Yeah.
the stuff that I've never played. You know, unless I downloaded it like in the last couple of weeks, I can just do a shift and
yeah.
all that stuff.
Right. You just
get
hit
it out of there, and then I
yeah.
go through the stuff that I've only played once, and I can usually get rid of most of that, and that'll really help you to keep things clean. But you don't want to you want to do a double check and make sure that you're
Yeah.
not deleting, you know, because a lot of times I don't play clean versions of stuff. I'll have a clean version, but I've never played it, and it's like, no, let me just keep that clean version in there, because you never know when you're going to get somebody that's like,
Yeah, you might do a corporate event
or a radio event or whatever.
event,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's another reason why I use the browse, so I can, you know, I don't know how many songs I got in Serato now. Like, I think at one point some years ago, I hit like something and it told me it was like 60,000, but that was like years ago. So I mean, I would bet that I got 100,000 songs. You know, I got a 2 terabyte hard drive. You know, I only do MP3s now, so that's only like a couple megabytes.
Yeah.
MP3 or whatever. But so like again, like if I'm only in 70 BPM, I'm only gonna see so many songs. If I'm in all, or if I'm in like a range, I'm gonna see way too much shit.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, man. But you're right though. Like this could kind of like carry over into like what I was telling you about the other day, how I had BeatSource and I got rid of it because I would hit search in BeatSource and just like all this shit would come up. And I'm like,
yeah, they need to
Yo.
tune that a little bit better.
Like-
Their search, because it seems like almost anything that I type into the BeatSource query box, it anything that's got a weird spelling to it, it tries to autocorrect it into something else.
yeah,
Then I'm like, no, I'm not trying to spell that. I'm trying to spell this.
yeah.
And it's like sometimes you gotta click it. Anyways, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and
I love BeatSource, but that search function is a little wonky.
I got too much. There was my issue again was like, and we talked about this. You're like, yeah, well, you know, it gets you out of a pinch. You know, you look up something that you may not have, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, and that's why I got it. And I would go to look up something. I DJ'd a wedding a couple weeks back, maybe a month ago. Came up to me, asked me for some Johnny Cash song that I didn't have, so I typed Johnny Cash in the, and he said it was the whatever the one popular Johnny Cash song is. Type it into BeatSource, and I mean, I got 20 versions of it. And I was
Yeah,
like,
I wonder too if you need to use I forget what they're called, but like exclamation point, or not exclamation points, but
it's called
quotation marks.
like a Boolean search string. That's what we used to use when I was recruiting. That's how you search for things, and like well, it's used to be how you search for things in Google,
Right.
but
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet there's some
yeah, there's
shortcuts to getting
I guess they
straight
need
to
a,
what you want.
they need a video on YouTube on like how that works, because
Hey, that might be
I don't know how it works.
might be some good content for us to create.
Mojax, figure it out, or yeah, you figure it out. You still got BeatSource. I don't have it anymore. I canceled it
Yeah, maybe.
because I was like getting
Well,
too much shit.
And that I was just thinking about that too, where I need to get back to. I kind of fell off being regimented with the daily scratch practice.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all kind of did, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I want to get back into. I feel like I function well when I have routines, when I know what I'm doing each day, and I've signed on for certain deliverables. And what I think I've decided is to try to come up with 3 pieces of content each week, which is the podcast, which is this, right? So do the podcast once a week, do a mix once a week, you know, even if it's 20 minutes,
Yeah.
something, you
Yeah.
know, something. Live from the club, live from the house, whatever. Find somewhere out in the world to record something. And then maybe one, like you did a tutorial, a few days back or a week ago, on how to record mixes or something straight into the phone. So it
Yeah.
could be a tutorial or an editorial where it's,
Mm-hmm.
hey, here's 5 minutes of me talking about all the different ways that I feel like AI could help us as DJs in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Something,
Yeah.
a tutorial, an editorial,
Yeah.
something. So if I can come up with those three pieces of content each week,
Yeah. I mean,
we got something.
yeah, it's definitely doable. With your situation, I mean, yeah, I mean for me, like that's why I never signed on to the daily scratch situation because I just knew I couldn't do it every day.
Right.
With my situation, right? And that's the whole thing I've always said for people is everybody's situation is different and everybody's got their own thing going on. So like trying to do something every day is a little bit I don't want to say unreasonable, but unreasonable, depending on what it is. Like, me, I work in the fitness industry. Like, I work out a lot. I don't work out every day. I didn't work out today. But, I think, too, I think I said this before, is like finding things that you're already going to do
Mm-hmm.
and using that as a piggyback or into like especially creating content, right? I always talk about this about creating content because you're already going to DJ. Every Sunday you DJ. Take the camera, set it up, plug it in, boom. There's your 20-minute mix.
Right.
Wednesdays we're going to be here. Your editorial or tutorial, whatever, maybe that's something you got to figure out. But a lot of that stuff too.
I mean, that's something I can do on my lunch break.
But like
It
where I'm
works.
going with this is like ideas of things that you already are either trying to figure out that you did figure out. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be super complicated or complex. Like, I'm looking at an example right now on how you have the Velcro tie down holding the iRig stream to the tripod. Stuff like that. Where somebody's out there trying to figure out, man, how do I get this thing not to just hang like this?
Yeah,
Like,
you'd
know
have
what I'm
to
saying?
see my iRig. Yeah, it's Velcroed onto
Yeah,
my tripod because I don't want it just to hang because
exactly.
it might
That's
mess up the connection or the wire or
that's
whatever.
a video. That's a tutorial all day. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing that I did the other day is not anything complex. All I took a vent charger thing and put it on a tripod and boom, that's how I charge the phone while I'm taking a video and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like I think that sometimes people overthink, oh man, I want to do some kind of tutorial content. What do I need to do? And they're like trying to like rack their brain to figure it out. But like there's all kinds of solutions to problems that you're doing every day.
Mm-hmm.
And even the simple ones can be content. You know what I mean? Like, and so like my whole thing is like, number one, don't overthink like the content that you want to put out, and two, put out content of things that you're already going to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because YouTube is, it's where people go to learn how to do different things. It's a search engine on how to, set up a podcast or how to record or how to get better video footage or whatever it is. So, you recording that 2-minute long video of, hey man, here's how I attach my iRig to my tripod. Somebody might go, hey, how do you attach an iRig to a tripod? And type that in. You never know. You never know. I mean, it could be.
or people just come across it and didn't even know that was an idea. And be like, oh shit!
But
okay.
also they come to your page, and then you've got a playlist of like tips and tricks, and you've got 50 videos in there, and they didn't even know to think to search for something like that, but they see it in there and go, oh, hey, wait a minute, that's interesting. That would solve a problem that I didn't even realize was a problem that I had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it, and not everything that you record has to be published, but at least, start the process of producing and being productive, and that's what I want to do. I know some of the things that I do in the beginning they're not going to have the best polished quality, but eventually over time, if you get 1% better each time that you do something, eventually you're going to be putting out pretty awesome content. Like, think about what we sounded like on the very first podcast that we did. Like, it was kind of all over the place. It was really clunky. Now we're sticking to topics. We know, we're not cutting each other off all the time. The quality of what we're doing is just, it's a little bit better and getting better each time we do it. So we're gradually getting better and better. And also, I just want to add in one more little thing while I'm on my little tangent here. It's the financial matter, where I think I want to address this, where if you're doing YouTube or mixtapes or whatever because you think that you're going to get rich off this stuff one day, just stop. Because there's a lot of other ways in the world that you can make a lot more money a lot faster than doing YouTube. Like, this needs to be because you feel just so compelled, like you just love doing it. Do it for the love, because first of all, I think that's going to come across better for your viewers. And same thing with your mixes, like play music that you like instead of like what you think is going to get the most views, because first, you want to be authentic, but also, that's going to take so long, the 2 years or whatever it is of creating, all the hours that it's going to take to get to the point where you start to maybe get your first check from Google or YouTube. You could have done something else for 2 years and made a ton of money every day, and built that up and invested it. Like, this is not a great investment of time if financial reward is what you're after. Like, you should, at the base, at the foundation of you producing content should be because you're a music lover or because you have really interesting things to say. That should be your motivation. That should, get you up, be enough to get you up and working each day. Because if the financial aspect of it is your motivation, that's going to wear off real quick when you're not getting money for, it could be months, it could be years, it could be never. You got to have love. We just, obviously, listen to this, we love DJing. We love it, so we love talking about it. We would call each other on the phone and just talk about DJ shit for 2 hours. Yeah. That's why we do this. Is
how the podcast was born.
It was born out of us. We would, and we loved it. So, this is just a product of that. Not how can we, get rich. Now, that doesn't mean leave money on the table. If somebody came to us and said, we'd like to sponsor you or whatever, like, hell yeah, let's do that. We were totally open to that. I'm just saying, like, you gotta be the one that looks deep down inside and like, what really is my motivation and why I want to do these things, because otherwise it's going to be grueling.
To add on to that, like what you just said, like when the money does come, then there's extra pressure and extra expectations. So like if somebody does come to you and says, hey, I want to sponsor you and we give you a check, obviously they're doing that because they want something to gain out of it. So like if you're doing something that you don't enjoy only for the money, and then somebody starts giving you money and then they're wanting you to do it more and more and more and more, and you don't like it, then it's you're just going down you're going in a bad direction. But and again, that's why I say too, like whatever content you want to produce, I don't care what you are. You're a mechanic, you fucking work on washers and dryers, it don't matter. If that's what you do already, do that. Like we got a buddy, Ty Evans, he's an HVAC guy. Like if I was Ty Evans, I would be doing content on HVAC. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like because that's what that dude does. That's his business, that's his job. And he's already doing that. He's already getting calls to go fix somebody's air conditioner. Mm-hmm. Bring a tripod, bring a camera, get a little microphone, talk your way through it while you're fixing it.
If something's,
post it on YouTube.
Yeah, if something goes wonky with my car, which that's the second time I've used wonky in this podcast. Anyway, something goes wrong with my car, I need to change spark plugs or change a fuse or whatever it might be. YouTube's the first place that I go. And usually there's a video. It's a 2-minute long video. Some guy with dirty fingers that's like, well, okay, what you got to do, you got to pop this open. It's the third one down, one over. All right, you're going to look at it. If it looks like this, you got to replace it. Boom, boom, boom. And I look down, and it's got like 50,000 views.
Yeah, because
I'm like,
everybody's had the same problem.
right. You could have the same thing, you know, but know that DJing's a niche thing. There's not billions of DJs like there are billions of cars on the road. So, you know, if you're not super into this DJing stuff, you just want to make YouTube videos, you know, you might want to do something that, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
everybody's
and
going to use, not just.
the other thing is about that too is like, if you don't like it and you think that that's just the thing to do right now, because that's the thing to do right now, it's gonna show, right? Like, it's gonna show. It's just gonna be a bad. But you know, what's funny. This kind of brings us to the Olympic situation with the breakdancing. And you made this comment about how like bad performances get almost more attention than good performances.
Think about that. How many videos have you seen about the dudes, the final battle, final breakdancing battle versus the girl from Australia that was whack?
All I've seen is the girl from Australia.
That's what I'm saying. There was awesome battles with awesome breakdancers. It was
Yeah.
incredible. And I've had several people tell me like, "Oh, I heard it was whack," or whatever. I saw some videos
All
and
I've seen
it,
is
you
the
know,
girl.
I can do that. And I'm going,
She's
dude,
everywhere.
Yeah, you missed the whole. You didn't even go and watch the championship matches. Those guys were insane.
Well, one thing I
So-
will say about that though, like, you know, we live in this microwave brain world, and in 2 weeks, it'll be a dead subject. But
You know what's crazy too?
but right now, it's everywhere.
What's crazy too is last night I was over at my mom and my aunt's house, and I went to go show my mom. They've already taken down all the breakdancing content off of Peacock.
Oh yeah, I was actually looking at Peacock today. Yeah, none of that stuff's up there.
Yeah.
They've actually taken down quite
Well,
a
it's
few of
been
the sports.
2 days. Yeah.
because you know the Olympics are over. So yeah, I was looking. 'Cause, you know, me being in fitness, I watched some of the weightlifting stuff, and I actually went back to look at it today, and it was gone. But it was funny. Equestrian is still up
Yeah, it's
because
weird.
my kid was like, "Oh, there's horses."
Right. It's weird what stayed up and what.
Yeah, and what's down? But yeah, you're right. So some of that stuff is gone now. Yeah.
Well, anyways, man, let's wrap this up. You got any gigs coming up this weekend?
Yeah, man. Mr. Thirsty's Friday down on Main Street, and then Saturday I'm rocking out with a Monster Energy drink at the Indy Kart car racing over at I always call it Gateway International, but it is the Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Well, you say Indy Kart?
Yeah, I think it's Indy Kart.
Is it go karts or is it those things with the weird wings on them? What
It's
are
got the wings on it, man. It's like the.
You talking about the like?
The Indy cars? Indy cars? I don't know if it's... So here's the thing. This is what I do know about the situation over there. Because I did the NASCAR thing.
Okay.
What they do, the track over there is not, I guess, regulation size for like... This was like NASCAR, like you have like Daytona 500. They don't do that there. Like they don't do the 500 because the track is smaller. So what they do is they can have the cars, and I think this is the same situation for what's going on this weekend. So there will be Indy cars there, but they tune them down so they can't go as fast because the track is smaller. So like in these Indy cars, I think will go like 200 miles an hour, like on a regular track, like at Indianapolis, the Indianapolis 500. Well, since the track is smaller, they might do like 100 miles an hour. So I think that's what's going on.
Okay.
That's what happened with NASCAR. So they called it the NASCAR Cup Series, and they actually had like what's his name, Bubba, not Bubba Sparks, I'm sure Bubba whatever his name is.
It's the only Bubba I know.
Yeah,
Bubba Gump.
The race car driver and all the NASCAR like popular NASCAR driver guys were there, and they're driving, but they can't go as fast because the track is too small. But then they have them all there, and I think they're doing the same thing with Indy cars, where you're not going to see 200-mile-an-hour speeds, you'll see 100-mile-an-hour speeds. But I'll be there with Monster Energy drink DJing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, one of these days we're gonna have to talk about that, like the getting affiliated with brands and being brand ambassadors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know we're wrapping it up, but we'll get into that. So yeah, congratulations on those, and I'm sure Mr. Thursdays on Friday will be popping.
Should be cool because I think school is back now. So,
Yeah.
like I said before, it's Kyle. It's on Main Street. You know about Main Street.
Yeah, I've been down there once or twice.
Yeah, been down there a couple times. Yeah. Good old Lindenwood holding it down. So
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully there'll be a little good influx of college kids in the building
Yeah.
to rock out. We gonna be at Tenerife? You there all weekend this weekend again?
No, just Sunday.
Just Sunday,
So
huh?
yeah, this past weekend was crazy. This was
Wore you
definitely
out,
out of character for me. Yeah, if y'all can't tell in the HD, I'm pretty wiped out because I did Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then of course Monday went straight back to work. So yeah, it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot. When you're not used to doing back to back to back.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I did it. It was a lot of fun. None of the gigs went late night, so that was pretty cool.
There you go.
But it's just weird. I felt like with just such a crazy busy week, I didn't really have a lot of time to do things that I wanted to do. I feel like chores kind of piled up and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I probably won't be doing a lot of like 3 gigs in a row like that.
Yeah.
For a while, but yeah, it was cool. It was a nice little something. I'm glad I did everything that I did. Actually broke up a little fight Saturday night at the club.
Oh yeah, you got involved in that? I'll never do that, man. I
Well,
never.
it was a weird situation. I was walking by a couple guys. When I walked right past them, the hallway to the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
they were in each other's face, and I just, as a DJ, you're in and out of the bathroom real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the girls, KT, that works up there, said something like, "Hey guys, knock it off." And I look over my shoulder, and I saw that one of the guys was shoving the other guy into the wall.
Mm.
And I turned around and I walked up to him, and I won't do it into the microphone, but I told him to knock it off. And they froze.
Yeah.
And I stuck my hand in between them, separated them. I was like, "Hey, we don't do that in here."
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of went their separate ways. One of the guys came with me, and like as he's walking with me, he puts his arm around me. He's like, "Hey man, will you protect me?" And I was like, I think he was just talking
man.
smack, like, "I'm
You got a
scared,
buddy?
I'm scared." And I was like, "Hey, now's not the time to be talking that stuff."
Yeah.
And anyways, there wasn't much more to it than that, but it was just kind of funny that young guys, you can do that. You just use like a stern, like use your
Yeah. Talk to him like your dad.
right. You boys, knock it off.
Right.
And they'll listen, which it was just kind of funny. But
Yeah.
yeah, and Sunday was fantastic. Oh my gosh, Charlie
There you go.
Chan was there, Nasty Nino was there,
Yeah.
KMJ was there.
Nice.
The list goes on. It was like
Yeah.
freaking all-star lineup. But just they weren't all DJing. They just like came and
hanging
hung
out.
out, were kicking it, and came up on stage when I was DJing and rocked out with me and kicked it. And that was fun. KMJ got on the mic,
Dope.
and he's a wild one.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to doing that again this week, and that's all I got.
Yeah. Nice.
That's all I got.
Good stuff, man. I'll keep it rolling.
All right.
Well, I guess we'll see y'all next time.
Yep. Let's wrap it. All right. Peace.
Right on time. This bathroom. Hey man, I get so stiff. Jesus.